vacation on an island called Koh Chang here in Thailand, and for the first time I've been here, and apparently they've only just opened, so I'm very lucky. Let me just give you a swing around so you can see the view. How awesome is that? What a view. Yeah, stunning. The only problem is that I'm a bit frightened to go back down the hill because it is really very steep. I'm a bit worried that I'm going to come off the bike because my bike is very heavy. So yeah, lovely place. Okay, so what's my talk about today? My talk today is all about how to build influence publishing a co-authored book. So I have just recently published a co-authored book with 7 other authors in it. I'm a lead author in that book, which basically means that I had the initiative to bring it together, bring everybody together, create the book, create the different stories. I was working alongside someone else who did the book coaching and mentoring, but it's called REBIRTH. You can have a look at it. It's an Amazon #1 bestseller, and it's an extraordinary book of women's stories of triumph over trauma. So I wanted to talk about how to build influence publishing a co-authored book. So being one of the co-authors in the book, how to really create that impact, that momentum, the trust, the trust, know really quickly. How can you get people to, how can you boost your credibility really quickly so people trust you ultimately, which is what we want? How can you supercharge that so it doesn't take years to do? Publishing a co-authored book, being an author in a co-authored book, is a great way to do it, and of course I highly recommend it. I bring out 3 books a year, and mine are all focused around a very specialist topic, which is triumph over trauma. Now, you might have seen co-authored books. There are a lot of them around. There are different varieties of co-authored books. You will see estate agents, maybe doctors. I've seen spiritual books. Whatever the topic is, if you can bring a group of people together, you can create an extraordinary book that really impacts on the market that you want to get in front of. Maybe you've participated in one, or you're thinking of participating in one for the tail end of this year to move you forward into 2023. I've got my notes here, so I just want to make sure that I stay on track and cover what it is that I need to be covering, otherwise I'm just going to ramble and just be enjoying this extraordinary view. So becoming a best-selling author is by far one of the best things you can do to grow your influence, because it helps you position yourself with authority really quickly. You can supercharge, as I said, the trust, credibility, the know, like factor. You know, this is when you reach that tipping point. This is when people reach out to you because they perceive you as being credible. You have the authority. They want to work with you. They don't want to work with anybody else. They just want to work with you because they know how you roll, what you're about. Co-authored books give you a beautiful opportunity to do that, and plus they give you a really great opportunity to improve your writing skills, learn how to write your story more fluently so it connects with the hearts and minds of your readers. So it gives you that foundation, the building block, to then go ahead and start writing your own book. So it's a great way to dip your toe into, well, sorry, I was swiping across the screen. I just think I completely just blotted myself out. It's a good way to dip your toes in the water and think, actually, do I really want to write my own book? Or what needs to be done to actually write your own book? So it's a great way to dip your toes in the water. So to me, it is one of the best and the easiest ways to build your influence, build your credibility. And that's great, because sometimes it can take years, especially when you are breaking into a new market, or you're in a marketplace that is heavily saturated with competitors. If you have a book, if you have an Amazon #1 bestseller, that already puts you, it's the difference that makes the difference. You're already in a different bubble to everybody else, because you've taken the time to put your thoughts, your ideas, what it is that you believe to be true, down onto paper for people to read. You stand by what it is that you believe in. And believe it or not, there are so few people that actually do that. They give it all this, they give it all the gift of the gab, they do a good talk, but actually when it actually comes to sitting down and really formulating their ideas, they don't do it. So it already puts you in a different category to other people who are doing what it is that you're doing. So as I said, the books that I publish are specialised. They're focused on a niche. They're on personal development and transformations. They're of women's stories of hardships and traumas it is that they have been through. They share that story, what happened, not all the detail, of course, not all the gory detail, but what happened, how they've recovered, and then they share a piece which is to help the readers see their experience from a new perspective. So it's an exercise, it's a knowledge and insight piece that someone can do themselves, and they can take them through the journey on, so they can experience their own personal transformation. They can experience their own impact of what it is that the authors want to share with them. So mine are very niched. I bring out 3 a year, and it's such a great opportunity for female leaders, coaches, even other authors, healers, people who work in the transformational space, who really want to leverage their credibility and authority. But not only that, you get to leave a legacy. The thing about books is that they're forever. It's not like creating a course. It's not like creating a program or working one-to-one with somebody. A book is a solid piece of work that people can buy forever. It's always going to be there, which is quite incredible, and it sells all over the world. It impacts millions of lives all over the world. Okay, millions of lives might be a slight exaggeration. It's not quantifiable, to be fair, because when someone picks up your book and they read it, and then that impacts on their family or work colleagues, and then it's the butterfly effect. It's not quantifiable, but who knows just how many lives that book touches, and also leaves a legacy as well. So as I said, it's a fantastic opportunity. So women who have been through some kind of trauma, so depending on what book you would be involved with in terms of co-authoring, it would be a story that is focused around your area of expertise, your knowledge, your insight, and your wisdom. Entrepreneurship, leadership, real estate. The list is really endless. As I said, if you can bring a group of people together to talk around a particular topic, that they're all going to contribute, pull together, and you're going to be able to create an extraordinary book, because it's got multiple perspectives in it. I have a number of co-authored books, and I have my own book, and there's a big difference between being in a co-authored book and actually writing your own book. Very, very different experiences. I wish I'd done the co-authored book before I'd done my own book. It would have made me a much, much better writer. The first book is very raw. It's very raw. It's very good. Read it. It's on Amazon. Be More Wolf. Be More Wolf. # Be More Wolf. Yeah. See, if I'd only known, I probably wouldn't have called it # Be More Wolf. But there you go. But unfortunately, like you, or maybe you've experienced this yourself, is that I've seen way too many co-authored books just miserably fail. And I've written 5 things down here as to why they miserably fail. And a lot of it is to do with, so the first one is to do with not picking the right people, not having the right people in the book. So they've written a book, they've got all the co-authors together, but the stories aren't aligned. They're not part of a bigger picture, they're not part of a bigger story. And I think that's really important when it comes to doing co-authored books, because the person who is the lead author leads the book. It's part of their branding, it's part of what they believe in, it's part of the movement it is that they want to create. It's how they make the book last. So it's got longevity. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's got longevity. It's not just one of these books where people go, oh, I want to be an Amazon #1 bestseller, yeah, and then that's it. Then the book is never seen or heard of again, and it just disappears in the Amazon racks. So it's really about the types of people it is that they're having writing in their book, and what their purpose and what their meaning is, but also what is the co-author's purpose and meaning. So for me, Triumph Over Trauma is aligned with my business. I created the trauma recovery method. I am a trauma recovery advocate, and trauma recovery and healing influences all of the work that I do. So that book then becomes part of a much bigger story, which is exactly what you want. So number two, you don't get any coaching or mentoring of how to create your story within the book, which you need. You know, you want to present your story in the best light, you want to present your exercise in the best light, because if you don't do that, people aren't going to engage with you after the book. So we want to be able to coach, mentor, get it edited by a professional editor and proofreader, have it professionally presented, not just something that someone's written out, no one's really looked at it, it's just been spell checked and then shoved that in a book. That is not good enough. That is not an exceptional book that is going to create a legacy and change lives forever. It's going to be a bit of a mismatch and a bit of a mess. So that's number 2. Number 3, this is an interesting one. Deadlines are all over the place. So there's no clear structure to the book formatting, the book creation and the book writing process. So deadlines are all over the place. No one seems to know what they're doing. You're asked for information that is all over the place, and it makes the whole thing really, really confusing. And that to me just basically says that it's not going to do well. It's not going to do well, because if someone can't get that straight, then they're hardly going to be able to pull off the book marketing and what needs to be done after the book has been written. Number four. Okay, number 4. The publisher, or the lead author, I should say, who's brought the book together, doesn't have a clue about the process for getting the book into the marketplace. They don't have a clue about how to make that book become an Amazon bestseller, not just once, but repeatedly. So you sit in the top 5 of a particular category for that book that you want to be known in. So it's a bit like a one night stand. Yeah, it's great on the night, but that's as long as it lasts. I don't know why I always use the one night stand scenario. I'm not sure that is the best one, but it's what comes to mind. Yeah, so they don't have a clue what's needed to actually keep a book consistently at number 1. Number 5, the last one, and I've already touched on this. This is that the book isn't part of a bigger mission or vision. You want the book to have a long shelf life, not a short shelf life. You want it to be part of a bigger story, a bigger vision, a bigger mission. You want it to you want it to really connect with the co-author, not just them doing it for their own publicity and their own motives. It has to be done and set in context and be for the right reasons for it to have longevity. Yeah, you want to have longevity, have purpose, and there are three very clear steps when it comes to the process of co-authoring, bringing a co-authored book together. Now, bringing a book together is tricky enough when it's one person. Bringing a co-authored book together when there are 10 other authors, yeah, it's a challenge, and you need to be systematic, you need to be process driven. This is co-author speaking here. You need lead co-author. You need to have all your ducks in the row, as they say. It needs to be streamlined. You need to know exactly what it is you're doing. But there are 3 phases, as I said. So phase 1 is really about the story, crafting the story, doing the book coaching and mentoring, getting the best story, finding the exercise. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 is the creation. So that's the editing, the book cover, the spelling, bringing the chapters together. It's actually creating the book, the paperback book. And phase 3, and this is the bit that people miss out the most, that is that phase 3 is the marketing. Now, each step is as important as the other. If you don't spend time investing in the story and coaching and mentoring people to find the best story to share in that book, then it's going to be, people just aren't going to read it. You're not going to get great reviews. It's not going to sell. It's just going to disappear. If you're not clear on the book creation process and how to bring a book together, it's going to be poorly formatted and it's just not going to look good, so it's not going to sell. If you are not doing the marketing properly and you haven't got a plan to how to market the book after it's been published and released, then again, it's not going to sell. So these 3 steps are really integral to one another. They're all as important as one another. And I believe a co-authored book won't survive without those 3 steps, particularly the fourth step, which is the marketing piece, how you're going to get those reviews, how you're going to keep it consistently at number 1. So what have we covered? 5 steps. The 5 steps that you really don't want to see happening in your co-authored book. If you're thinking of doing one, maybe you recognize some of these steps from when you have been an author in a co-authored book. I'd love to know, actually. Pop below the video and let me know if that resonates with you. If you've got a question, if you've experienced that would be really great. But I think the thing here is that I started off talking about how to build influence by publishing a co-authored book, and it really comes down to, for me, is the lead author being very clear, very specific about what it is that they expect from the authors, to be able to draw the best out of them. It's a relationship, it's a project between a group of people, so it's about how can you help everybody to complement one another, so it's going to be an amazing success. So as I said, the last co-authored book that I released is, I think it's 7 categories, bestseller categories. I'm just about to actually do a chapter in another co-authored book, and I'm going to be bringing 3 co-authored books out, obviously not this year, but I want to do one this year before the end of, to come out in October, and that will be Triumph Over Trauma. I haven't got the name yet. Yeah, I step into it, feel the energy of the stories, and then come up with a name. That to me is the best way to do it, rather than giving it a name and expecting other people to step into it. Yeah, so don't forget, enjoyed the content, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up, and let me know if you're thinking of joining a co-authored book, or if you have any questions about the pitfalls of becoming a co-author and what to look out for. But until next time, gorgeous, have an absolutely awesome day. Now I can't see anything because it's too bright, and I can't see how to I can't actually see how to stop my video.